Hello guys and welcome back to the F1 Tube YouTube channel, and in today's video we will be talking about Sebastian Vettel. Will he retire from F1 at the end of the 2019 season? After another mistake and really adding to the collection of mistakes Sebastian Vettel has made in the past 2 years. This was a video I was always planning to make, but after the British Grand Prix it seems a more convenient time to make this video. And just quickly, if you were living under a rock yesterday, Sebastian Vettel crashed into Max Verstappen with 15 laps to go of the British Grand Prix, entering the Vale chicane. Basically, Vettel went for a gap that never existed. He hits the rear of Verstappen, both cars damaged, and Vettel finished outside of the points and finished second last on the road. But to me, you can just see in Vettel's body language that he's just not in the right place at the moment. Now, I'm going to be expressing my opinions and evaluating different ways in which Vettel could retire at the end of this year or not. Firstly, the Canadian Grand Prix incident where Vettel lost the race win through a debatable 5-second time penalty really lost his love for the sport and could be one of the most defining moments in his career. In his eyes and many F1 fans' eyes, he was robbed of that race win, and ever since then he just has lost a lot of love for Formula 1 at the moment. Ever since then, it feels to him that the sport has just turned against him, and like other drivers, which I'm going to make points on in a minute, they have had a moment or moments that have defined their fate for when they were going to retire. For Sebastian Vettel, it is the Canadian Grand Prix incident, and in my opinion, the rise in Charles Leclerc and the state of Ferrari at the moment. For Damon Hill, it was his rather turbulent 1999 season for Jordan, whilst his teammate Heinz-Harald Frentzen was maximising the best out of that Jordan car, claiming third in the World Championship, whilst Damon Hill didn't win an entire race compared to Frentzen's 2. With Damon Hill just losing that edge, and when he's not winning, well, he just wasn't in a happy place. For Fernando Alonso, it was his charisma and the teams he went to not being capable enough of bringing him a Drivers' World Championship. For example, Ferrari rather dying with that relationship between them and Alonso, and McLaren with that Honda partnership and eventually the Renault partnership just not having enough pace to even get close to the front runners, and with Fernando just not gaining any more success. For Jenson Button, it was the tragic circumstances of the loss of his father. He stayed around for another 3 seasons, 2014, 2015 and 2016, but he lost the love for F1 as he just saw there to be no point when his father was no longer beside him. And finally, Mark Webber. It was the Multi-21 incident at Malaysia 2013, very much involving Sebastian Vettel, and it was Webber's realisation that Red Bull was not his team, it was Sebastian Vettel's team, and Webber realising that he was never going to gain massive success when Vettel was there. So yeah, those are my evaluations of drivers who have retired from F1 and their reasons, and Vettel for me is just falling into that space. It's not because he's getting old, it's because so many factors are just contributing to him falling out of love with F1. And allow me to go into detail with Vettel's problems and rather just somber moments in his F1 career at the moment. Firstly, the Ferrari he is at the moment is not the Ferrari he thought it would be when he first arrived there. In my opinion, he very much thought that it was going to be the team that Schumacher was at Ferrari, with the team just being a harmonic constructor of success. Yes, there would be the occasional controversy, but ultimately there would be no friction between the team and driver. The reason why Schumacher's success was conveyed at Ferrari was because he had another figure that worked alongside him, which the two together just worked like fish and chips, that being Schumacher with Ross Brawn. Both men went from Benetton to Ferrari and just created the ultimate F1 partnership. And of course you had Jean Todt, who was running the team so well. The Ferrari at which Vettel is at the moment, they have no figure that has been working alongside Vettel for the majority of his F1 career. Vettel never brought along Adrian Newey to Ferrari. That was just never going to work. Instead, Ferrari have a team leader that was changed, Arriva Bene to Binotto, and that partnership is just non-existent really. You have a very, very controversial strategist in Inaki Rueda who has made countless errors, and it just seems a bit of a mess. And in my opinion, Vettel realised at the end of last year and throughout this year that Ferrari is not the team he believed it was going to be. I think Vettel honestly thought it was going to be a lot like Schumacher, but the Ferrari team now is totally different to the Ferrari team of the early 2000s. That's why they're not winning championships. And that is evident through the 2 seasons in which Ferrari thoroughly battled Mercedes for the World Championship, 2017 and 2018, and Mercedes proved their superiority. And that was through team and driver. No, it does not determine the pace of the car, but it's the team as a whole, how well they work together. And there was just a few cracks in Ferrari which Mercedes exploited. And some would say that's why Vettel made costly errors last year and in 2017, because he was trying to fill in those cracks. Also, Charles Leclerc, the improvement from the Monegasque in the last few races has been rapid. He has now scored as many pole positions as Vettel has in the last year. Also, he is not making the errors that Vettel has. A typical example, the British Grand Prix. Leclerc so aggressive throughout the whole race, but he was never looking like he was going to crash. Vettel first time round crashed with Verstappen. And it's those moments where Ferrari really should be looking at who they want to make their number 1 driver, because this is not Kimi Räikkönen at Ferrari. This is Charles Leclerc, who is going to be winning world championships in the future, multiple world championships in fact. And the Scuderia need to be decisive in who they make their number 1 driver, because that's the way they work best in. So, what are Vettel's options for 2020 and beyond? Firstly, Mercedes, and I think this is the only other team Seb would actually go to, because Mercedes are German and they are fighting for race wins and world championships. And as much as Lewis and Seb get on quite well, I just can't imagine them in the same team. Mercedes are rather cautious to that. I don't think they want a repeat of the Hamilton-Rosberg situation, although Hamilton and Vettel don't exactly despise each other. And of course, remember, Vettel has a contract till the end of next season. And here's the thing, I can't see Vettel being at Ferrari for the 2021 season. Firstly, there's a massive rules change for 2021, hopefully, and Ferrari suck at regulation changes. It takes them a while to adapt to them. Use 2009 and 2014 as typical examples, Ferrari being nowhere. And probably by the end of this season, Ferrari will choose Leclerc as their number 1 driver, because at the moment, he's by far the quicker driver. And to be honest, all the doors are shut for Vettel at the moment, so he's being put in uncertainty over his F1 future. But there is one con to Vettel leaving Ferrari and possibly F1, and that's who will they replace him with? Kimi is doing a great job for Alfa Romeo, and I don't think him going back to Ferrari would be the smartest move. I think he still would want to win races, but he still would play second fiddle to Leclerc, so that would be an interesting one, but I don't think Ferrari really want him to leave Alfa Romeo, as he's really helping developing that team. Giovinazzi is not ready, and looking at the F2 drivers, nor are Schumacher or Callum Ilott. But in my opinion, there are 3 drivers on the current F1 grid that could take Vettel's place at Ferrari: Daniel Ricciardo, Romain Grosjean and Sergio Perez. However, on the flip side, Danny Rick is committed to Renault in my opinion. Romain Grosjean is nowhere near good enough for that Ferrari seats, and that leaves Sergio Perez. And financially, although it wouldn't be the greatest for Racing Point, they still have the bucks from Lance Stroll's dad, Lawrence Stroll. So I do think Sergio Perez moving to Ferrari for 2020 is a possible option. And by the way, if you're thinking, why on earth did I pick Romain Grosjean? He was always promised that Ferrari seat. That's really why he went to Haas. And although I don't think Leclerc and Perez have the greatest relationship, I still think that would be rather satisfactory, as Ferrari could settle for number 1 and number 2 drivers. So to my conclusion, now Vettel does have a contract till the end of 2020, so Vettel could just see out his contract with Ferrari and leave the Scuderia or just F1 in general. However, I I don't think he's in a happy place at the moment. He's making mistake after mistake after mistake, seemingly to a fan that really wants Sebastian Vettel to excel. And he's just not in a happy place at the moment, like other F1 champions that have retired from the sport. Damon Hill in 1999, Jenson Button from 2014 to 2016, and obviously Fernando Alonso in the past 5 years. So for reasons I have previously mentioned, I do think Sebastian Vettel will quit or retire from F1 at the end of the 2019 season. It's a very bold prediction, I would admit, and my opinions could change, but after the British Grand Prix, Vettel just doesn't love F1. I'm sure he loves racing, but his love for F1 has definitely dwindled. And I think Sergio Perez will replace him for next season. And yeah, this is probably going to end up so badly. This is probably a woeful prediction, but it's why I make these videos, because yeah, I justify my opinions and make some rather controversial predictions. But guys, that is it for today's video. Please like this video, comment down below what you thought of this video, and please subscribe to the F1 Tube YouTube channel. And until next time guys, see you later.